Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Ivory, and you are tuned in to the Embracing Neurodiversity podcast, where I share my personal journey of embracing and enhancing the experience of my amazing son who is on the spectrum. Through this journey, I've discovered a lot about myself and continue to grow every day. My goal is to provide you with some useful insights and stories that will inspire you in your own parenting journey. Thank you for tuning in. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I am grateful that you have decided to rejoin me. I wanted to dive right in and talk about the idea of committing to progress over perfection, not only for your child who is neurodiverse, but for yourself as a parent. So one of the things I've mentioned in a previous podcast, all the ways that raising a child on the autism spectrum has changed me. And one of the ways it has fundamentally changed me is that the more I learned to be compassionate and patient with him and his journey, I also learned to be compassionate and patient with myself and my journey. And so the same applies to committing to progress over perfection, and how oftentimes when we're raising children on the spectrum, much of our fear and worry and anxiety comes from rooting ourselves in where we want them to be, as opposed to being committed to investing in where they are right now and celebrating the small wins, which obviously requires a mindset shift, which requires support and coaching and consuming of information and being incredibly kind to yourself, right? And so I wanted to step back today and talk about some ways that you can shift your mindset from being invested in perfection and committing to progress, right? And so I am inspired by this because I mentioned, I think last week or the week before, or the week before that, I don't know, that I am a bit of a recovering perfectionist. I still have my moments and I'm working through that, but because I know that has been a thing for me, I'm always actively trying to find ways, tools, resources, supports to help me to move away from this idea of perfection, right? And it is absolutely a mindset shift, and it's a skill, and it's a habit that must be built. So let's dive into how you can commit to that. One is prioritizing goals that are realistic, right? And so that are achievable, small goals that lead to larger goals. An example of that for me is that I struggled with being consistent with working out. So what I decided to do was 10 minutes a day. If I work out for 10 minutes a day and give myself a 30-day challenge, I'm good. And actually 10 minutes a day for 5 days a week, right? And so that helped me to be able to accomplish a goal of remaining healthy and staying in shape, as opposed to being like, I'm going to go work out for an hour a day. No, I know me. So I'm going to do 10 minutes a day. And doing that, I saw progress as a result, right? And it helped me build my confidence in continuing to be consistent. So setting realistic goals is going to be so important. There's no goal that's too small. Just like with anything, you always have to start out with baby steps. Number 2, embrace iteration. And so understanding that the first attempt of something is going to feel weird or awkward, or you're going to mess up because you don't know. The first attempt at anything that you want to do, particularly when it comes to parenting, right? There's always going to be mistakes because there is no rule book for how to parent. But the concept of iteration is when you observe and assess how you're engaging in something, think through what you can do different the next time, and then commit to next time improving the thing that you needed to improve. And so it's chipping away at those small things that need to be improved. And so embracing the idea of iteration, it brings you closer to your desired outcome because it's almost like doing one small thing over and over in order to build to a larger outcome that is more magnificent. Learn from your mistakes. I really have decided to commit to when I've made a mistake, forgiving myself immediately because there's no point. You can't take it back. So there's no point of ruminating going in and feeling guilty for a long period of time. If your mistake involves hurting someone, absolutely apologizing in the immediate. If there's a way to fix it, do, but then moving on and not beating yourself up about that type of stuff. Like mistakes are purposeful because they help you to learn, but you must take the lesson from it. So learn from your mistakes. Definitely commit to action. Oftentimes I stay in this loop of planning, right? I want to plan everything out. I want to create a calendar and agenda and goals and tasks in order to complete those goals. But then when it's time for execution, that's another muscle that I have to work on and push myself to. But you have to prioritize it or else you'll get stuck. You can have all these plans, but then it's nothing without execution, right? And so commit to executing. It's the only way you are truly going to learn. And then last but not least, and I mention this a lot to my parents who are raising children on the spectrum, commit to a growth mindset. And essentially what a growth mindset means is that you are committed to the journey and the process as opposed to remaining stuck in one place and wanting to fix this one thing, right? And so it is a belief that skills and abilities can be developed over time, right? And that you're giving yourself time and patience for it to grow and to cultivate. And you believe that with consistency and hard work and hopefulness, that things eventually always work themselves out. Like that is the idea of a growth mindset. And so embracing the challenges as opportunities to learn, forgiving yourself when you make mistakes, moving forward. First of all, perfection is an illusion. Perfection means something different for every person. And so when we are stuck in this idea of wanting something perfect, we are only thinking about the outcome and not the experience. And that is a disservice to our lives, right? As far as we know it, you only get one of these, maybe not, but one of what we have now, the only life we have now is the one that we know. And I think it's important to live this life being as kind and gentle to yourself as possible. And for me, the primary way to do that is to release this idea of perfection and be committed to the journey, knowing that I always want to progress, right? So, per usual, I hope this was helpful to you all. Thank you for supporting. Until next time, take care of yourself.